We are out here today testing the TRX4 Sport with the Crawlmaster Mini that's piggybacked onto a custom prototype 1800 kV motor. I'd like to go crawling with it, see how it does, test a little bit of low speed control with it, and a little bit of high speed here out on the street. I think that'll give us a better feel for how fast it actually is. Running a 3-cell LiPo in this puppy. Now, one thing I would like to note, unloaded, this transmission has a little bit of backlash. It has metal gears, and you can hear probably, since this prototype motor has a much lower mass of rotor, you can actually hear it smacking against the gears. And some FOC systems actually do that. This is technically not FOC, but it acts like FOC, and the universal nature means that sometimes, without tuning at least, unloaded, it may make some noise like that. It's not much. Once we get a little load on it, I'll get down close. It's totally quiet once it's loaded down. In my element, it does not make any noise with this exact same combo, but the transmission has a different moment of inertia to it, and it also has plastic gears in it. So everything kind of adds up to make every system different, which is why, of course, I test things. As you can see, low speed control, as you would expect from the Crawlmaster Mini. We are running in essentially velocity loop mode at low speed, so I'm not modulating the throttle at all. It's just chugging right along. Chugging right along. We'll go a little faster here. It'll take forever to get over my foot. Now let's see how fast she is in the street, or at least on some gravel. It's crawling speed. It's not as fast as the 2-speed with a 3500 in it, but this is plenty of speed to go crawling with. Plenty of speed. 1800 is a pretty sweet range in my opinion. And with the Crawlmaster controller, it's even easier. It just keeps that good low speed control. Not a whole lot of throttle modulation, which I personally like to have. Lots of throttle modulation going on. It keeps me engaged. I find that to be pretty fun, but I see the draw about having a velocity loop. I see that draw. For really tricky situations, the velocity loop down low, especially going in this sort of speed range, is really handy. There, unloaded, you may have heard a little bit of that pinion chatter. Oh, we're getting her stuck. And this controller is sensorless. You can see there it's shuddering just a little bit. It was under a little higher load, and all I needed to do was just give it a little more throttle, just a little more throttle to get through that bind. So it does have a stall feature. It will tell us when it stalls. So velocity loop-ish, I guess I could call it. I am testing out new firmware today as well. So there may be some instances where it acts a little bit differently. Like I would say I've changed some values on it and it's stalling a little bit sooner than what I'm normally used to. But that could also be the gearing. It could be a lot of things. Yeah, nice and controllable. Really nice and controllable. Well, let's just do that loop once more. That's fun. And we'll go on to the backyard and get her on the rocks. Yeah, I'll do a speed run this time. Oh, don't want to run over my sedum. There she is. Oh no! Oh well, it wasn't perfect. Yeah, let's go onto the back rocks. Let's go back there. Let's check it out. We're gonna enter the world's biggest pumpkin contest with this guy. She's still got a couple months to go. It's gonna be the size of my truck by the time it's done. And the biggest corns in the world. Look at this little corn. I don't even know if there's anything in there. Yeah, there's a couple kernels. As you can see, I wasn't going for size this year. I was kind of seeing how good the yard would do without a lot of amendments. And essentially just using this corn this year for seed stock. I crossbred a sweet cream with this purple stuff. I don't know, it's sitting right next to the Sunny D, so I figured I'd grab it. Oh, the 1800 kV and the 14 tooth pinion, it's got more wheel speed than I need for trail running, that's for sure. I can't keep up with it unless I jog. Oh my God, look how big that grasshopper is. Must be a foot long. Wait, let me get my feet out of there. Ooh, almost got it. Just let those tires do the work. Oh, almost got it. These tires are more broken in, so they typically will hook a little bit better. Oh, it's one lug away. It's right there, just right there. Yes. Trust your line, driver. Let the tires do the work. Well, as compared to the last combo that I tested, which was the 3500 kV Puller Pro, I'll say that this is a little bit more controllable, but we're literally like half the speed. And that's a trade-off that is very typical, is you go to a slower motor and it's gonna be more controllable down low. It's not as punchy of a motor. It's just not as much trigger twitchiness. Just as slow as we want to go, really. Oh, is it gonna pull through? I'll just move rocks out of the way, I guess. I kind of need that helper rock to get up, but we'll see what happens. Ooh, just climbed right up this time. Must be the tires, and we had a lot of rain last night that got the dust off the rocks. That's right, that's what it is, I'm sure of it. Oh, little load there. So I'll mention once again, this is a beta firmware that I'm testing, and it is acting a little different. I'm not going to go into the specifics of what we changed or what we're trying to change on here, but this is why we test. I want to make sure. Oh boy, we're getting loaded down. Let's see what happens. There we go. Well, that was predictable. It stalled when it got into a really hard bind like we want. And then I just had to give it a little bit more throttle and it pushed right through, so sweet. Yeah, this TRX4 Sport has really good clearance, even with the stock body. All right. Well, the last thing that I really need to test on this system is how the heat is doing. I suspect that the motor is going to be running about stone cold, just like Steve Austin. And the ESC might be a little warm. It is a 1800 though, and we've got plenty of gear down on this particular model of vehicle. Well, let's just find out. We got a stock servo in here still, which is pretty warm, as you would imagine from getting into the riprap. ESC's, yeah, it's not quite stone cold, but a lot cooler than something like an Outrunner would be running. ESC, no perceivable heat, pretty sweet. And maybe we can just get a shot of that, how it sits in there. It's got a little piggyback. I just printed that out of TPU and shoved that on the back of the motor and soldered the leads directly onto the ESC. Maybe you can get a little side shot in there and you can kind of see how it's set up. But otherwise, all integrated unit for low speed crawling. You know, it's just, I wouldn't say just like the Fusion, but the same concept. It's been done before in the market, and I figured, you know, might as well try. Let's see how the thermal properties do. Let's see how the ESC does mounted to the back of the motor, and so far so good. Even insulated in TPU, it's not getting very hot. And that is, of course, because it's tuned right for the motor, at least good enough for the motor. The motor is tuned for the gearing of the rig. And all in all, I'd say that's a successful first test. So I'm going to keep crawling out here. If you do have any questions that aren't specific to which prototype motor this is, leave them in the comments down below. As always, thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.